Reverting to Islam is about as simple as brushing your teeth in the morning. But just like brushing your teeth, not everybody does it. But if you are a tattooed white American and you revert to Islam, you're going to be leaving people more confused than a toddler with an algebra test. Explaining this to people on the outside is like explaining quantum mechanics to a 2-year-old. For some reason, their minds just can't grasp that I found the Quran and reverted. And honestly, I think it's just because they don't want to believe it. They just don't want to face the truth that I found a series of information that is 100% truth and 100% to be the Word of God, and I chose to follow it. And better yet, I didn't have an ego attached to my belief system. I never cared what I believed. That's kind of how I ended up in the occult. But if I found something to be true, I'm not going to ignore that. That would be silly and selfish and weird. It would just be weird to not follow real things. But since reverting to Islam, I've noticed a few things that are a little off, and not about the faith, but about the people on the outside not understanding it. Now, probably the biggest question I get asked all the time is they want to know the reversion story. They want to know how I got there. And I wish I had this cool, entertaining story. I wish I had this fun, magical moment where I just became a Muslim, but really it was the Quran. It was in my studies. I picked up this book, I read it, and knew it was the Word of God the moment I set my eyes on it. The second I listened to it in Arabic, it changed my life forever. And it was 100% the Quran that got me to revert. There was no dawah, there was no outside influence. There's nobody that was tempting me to go in that direction whatsoever. Like, I reverted alone. But I will say, after meeting other reverts, reverting alone kind of was like a secret shield built into it. And because I reverted alone, I never cared about the outside opinions of people. Like, that never mattered to me. I did this by myself. I came to this conclusion. I found this information, or was given this information from God, and went that direction with it. Whereas other people may have been influenced through another person, and not that there's anything wrong with that, it just makes it easier on my part that that wasn't the case. But I want to go through some of the weird nuances. I don't want to say challenges, but some of the challenges of being a revert. It's not that hard, really. But a big one is usually when I tell people or people find out, they just laugh. They genuinely don't believe me. They just start laughing and they're like, "Oh, you're a Muslim." They thought think I'm joking all the time. And I'm like, no, like, you obviously have never read the Quran. And then the ones that don't laugh and start to believe it, their whole mood changes. They just get angry, and then they start accusing me of abusing women, which is really strange because if they've ever read the Quran, they would know the Quran teaches the actual opposite of that women are treated best in Islam than they are in any other monotheistic religion. But that's a different conversation we'll have later. Now, this next challenge may not really seem like a bad thing, but for me, it was kind of hard. The support of the community is massive. When you revert to Islam, people are going to support you. A lot of people all over the place. And because I've never had that in my life, I've never had support from friends or family or anybody whatsoever, it was super strange, and I did not know how to handle that. People being supportive of my decision. They were like, everybody was happy for me for doing this thing. I've never had people happy for me. I've always dealt with jealousy or people trying to tear me down if I accomplish something. And so this was something that was really hard for me to learn how to deal with or handle. I tried to become a little bit reclusive in that moment, where I just kind of wanted to step back away from everybody and be like, whoa. And that was an own personal thing for me, that I just didn't understand support, and I never really knew how to react to it. But all the support taught me something amazing. And what it was is I was in defense mode all the time. I was used to being attacked online, attacked in person, attacked in the workplace. It didn't matter. I was always like under scrutiny or under jealous vengeance of somebody else, or whatever the situation may be. I was just in defense mode all the time. So I was used to having to defend myself. And because of the support, I've actually been able to be a lot more gentle in my life. I'm not so quick to argue with people or quick to defend myself. Like, I don't feel like I need to defend myself 24/7 anymore. Now, another big challenge is whenever Americans find out you're a Muslim, or revert to Islam especially, they see you as a traitor and they tell you to move to Saudi Arabia. This is the funniest thing that I've ever experienced. And I get that there's other people of other races that probably experience this daily and their entire life. But it's so interesting because it's like, why would I move to a Muslim country whenever I can stay in the one I was born in and help bring the Muslim country here? Like, why would I take this and go to a place where it already exists? Why shouldn't I just spread this where I'm already at? Like, they think that I'm just going to believe them and just move to an already established Muslim nation. Although that would be beautiful, that would be a fun, easy environment for me. The laws of the land match my beliefs. That would be a very, very good situation. But I feel like it's my duty as an American born in America that I need to share this with other people here. And that if I just found the answer and then bailed on everybody, that I would kind of be selling out and leaving people on a sinking ship. And if you're one of those people that deals with those kind of assholes that are telling you to move to a Muslim nation, the way to not be affected by them is just remembering that Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. There's a good reason for this, and it's not just birth rates. I have to mention this in every video because all the trolls are going to be like, oh, it's only birth rates. Like, no, it's not only birth rates. There's a lot of people reverting to Islam. And I know the comment section is now going to be filled with ex-Muslims. But because Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, they're going to have to deal with it one way or another. Me leaving isn't going to change nothing. This country's going that direction whether they like it or not. This is the truth. This is the answer. And the truth spreads like wildfire. And I know it may not seem like it today because things are so crazy with the election and everything, but the truth will outspread lies. People have to work 10 times harder to spread lies. They have to work so unbelievably hard to spread lies. And whenever you spread the truth, you don't have to work at it. It spreads itself. It starts jumping from one person to the next, and it expands to this massive unit where the lies can't penetrate. With lies, people have to manipulate. They have to twist. They have to bend to try to get the lie to stick. And because the nature of truth and lies is fighting against the Quran, you're not going to be able to win. It's just not going to work. But now, the biggest challenge inside of the community about being a revert is kind of the judgment. I don't like to talk about this one too much publicly because I never want to discourage anyone. But there is going to be a lot of judgment. You know, people take time to revert, and a lot of the community understands this, and this is the saving grace of this situation. A lot of the community are going to be supportive, and they're going to understand that it takes time to revert, that you can't change your life overnight. It does take action, it does take work and a lot of effort to change the things that you're used to doing. But there is a small group that is going to pick apart every mistake you ever make. And this I see keeping people away from Islam. This is something that's kind of scary to me, and the only reason why I'm talking about this is to kind of spread awareness of this. There's people who avoid reverting to Islam because they're scared of the judgment. And to be fair, I was too, somewhat. Like, I was going to do it regardless, but I didn't consider myself a Muslim even after saying the Shahada because I wasn't following the entire actions yet. I knew I was in that direction, and I'm still far away from it. There's still things I need to change in my life, but perfection doesn't happen overnight, and for most of us, it's never going to happen at all. That's something big we need to kind of keep an eye on, is the individuals that don't have a support system, that didn't revert all on their own, and they're facing judgment. That's a scary situation, and that can really push them out. It's counterproductive, but overall it's been a beautiful experience, and I'm sure that there's some reverts out there that are dealing with some issues. So the only reason why I'm explaining this is so they can feel better about the situation and know that no, the judgment's not going to overcome you. Trust me, there's a lot of people in the faith that are extremely supportive, and they're going to be caring.